There was a terrible term that used to be used to describe people who were weekend hippies, and it was called a plastic hippie. I guess I fit that mode. I was very political. I had just graduated, and I was headed off to Michigan State for graduate school at the time. But weekends for me was going to Fillmore East and wearing dashikis and trying to make my hair look longer than it was. And I lived both lives. And Woodstock for me was the epitome of being that hippie side. But to this day, when I tell people I was at Woodstock, about 75% go, "Wow, you were at Woodstock?" And about 25% of the people think I'm lying. It is such an iconic event. One of the things that was different for me than most people who have watched the movie and haven't been there is the experience of what they showed of people playing around and having a good time or getting stoned or whatever they were doing. And the music, all that was happening simultaneously. So the music was going on for hours and hours and hours. We weren't paying attention to the music. It's not like going to a concert and sitting there and listening to the music. You were experiencing everything that was going on. And that was mostly in two different versions. Say there was the day and there was the night. And the music during the day was really encompassing. At night, you were stoned, you were tired, you were burned out, and you were fighting to keep awake, and people were crashed out all around you. And you couldn't see where you were walking. You would step on people. I was walking to go to the bathroom, and it was a hike. And I stepped on somebody's head on the way going there, and the guy looks up at me and goes, "Peace, man." And I was like, I just stepped on his head with my muddy feet. There were no paths, there were no rows, there were no aisles. So, and it was cold and it was rainy. Country Joe performed and he did the fish cheer. That was during their concert. But what he did was, give me an F, give me a U, give me a C, give me a K. What's that spell? And everybody, 500,000 people are yelling. It was pretty amazing. Right after him was Santana, and Santana was unbelievable. They just lit the place up. But the best band that I saw, and part of it was the time that they played, was Canned Heat. And they played Going Up the Country to Sunset, which was much like a Tucson sunset, where the orange sky and the clouds and the sunset, it was amazing. And people were sending their beach balls and their frisbees, and the whole air was filled with it. After that, it was dark. It was crashed. So the Grateful Dead. It was dance and music, and the Grateful Dead, they weren't well received. People were roaming around. I even saw Creedence Clearwater Revival, but they were on at like 2 o'clock in the morning. Janis Joplin was on, and she was awful. I mean, she was drunk. She was awful. She did not have her voice. It was terrible. And it was 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I had to get back on Sunday, but I had to work on Monday morning. It was the most unbelievable thing I had ever experienced. But when I was there, it wasn't always fun. You were really cold. That was an experience. And that was the experience of Woodstock. We could talk about the music, and the music was amazing. But really the experience was the communing of in nature of all of the people.